There's an issue about big and small, which we should come to at some point. You know, does creativity thrive better in smaller groups?
Well, yes, and when we end up talking about that, I mean, I think if you're in a smaller organisation, it's much easier to lead a team than in a big organisation. So I've got an easier job than some of these guys.
But what do you make of what you read there? What do you
I agree with what Elaine said. I think there are other issues as well. I think there's, despite the fact that people come up to Edinburgh and have a good time, I think there's quite a lot of fear in the industry. I suppose two things. One is I think there's quite a lot of fear of failure. You can, in a lot of even small organisations, there's a sort of desperation sometimes, a sort of real panic about the pipeline and what the turnover is going to be next year and meeting targets and so on and so forth. And I also think that another issue is that the industry is becoming more and more professional in a way that I suppose is kind of copying the States, where it's super professional to the point where it kind of doesn't leave so much room for the kind of quirkiness and oddities and personality and the intimate nature of creating things.
All right, let's come back to that. Let's just ask Farah quickly whether she's surprised to see that before we move on and actually look at some substance about how people think they should be doing. Are you surprised to see that survey?
Actually, no, I'm not surprised. If that was a survey that had been done in advertising, I think it would be remarkably similar, because I think innately in creative businesses, people are restless. So you can look at data in a variety of ways, and I would see that as people saying there's a restlessness to do better, a restlessness to communicate better, for big organizations to think like little ones. I think that's endemic to a creative enterprise, that you want to think small, even if you're big. You want to be able to be more agile. You want your leaders to be clear about what they stand for. So I think those themes are endemic themes in a creative industry.
Well, let's ask Carrie quickly before we look on that. Does that look familiar to you? Do people in the theatre, are they always complaining about the leaders?
I think one of the fundamental differences actually between theatre and television is that theatres are run by directors typically. So it's a slightly different structure in that sense. And I think in a way, if they're to be successful, the heart of it has to be about the artistic work and the artistic kind of leadership. So there are lots of complaints and there are lots of things that we become very anxious about when we're making theatre, mainly about reach actually and how we connect with our audience. But I think ultimately the sort of conversation at the middle of it always has to be about the quality of the material and about the kind of artistic leader really as the key producer.